Welcome back to video 13. I always hit a point when I do these mad sessions of long videos, but why did I start these things? Anyway, more about that in a minute, but today management tip is, I suppose, simple one. It's straw, the calf environment. I'm not great at art, but where the calf lies down, we want a warm, dry lie. We're going to talk about space and fresh air in other videos, but just basically thinking about that warm, dry lie. Why? If we think about the seesaw that I've talked about so much in other videos, we're trying to drive up immunity and drive down infection pressure. But when infection pressure, the amount of bugs goes up, disease occurs. So what we really need to think about is moisture. Humid conditions, bugs love that. In seasonal calving systems, both Ireland and the UK, well, a lot of the challenges are, it can be, even when it's cold, humidity can be high, moisture can be a challenge. So when we think about straw, it provides perfect insulation for the calf. So we talk about nesting scores, but straw is a brilliant insulator. But with straw, and one really thing I often see on farm is the drainage. So we can have that straw, and even we can have lie-back areas of straw, concrete out front towards the feeders that makes it easy to clean. But drainage is really important, that 1 in 20 slope, and that the drains that it's going into are functioning. But drainage is really important. We want to take as much moisture away from and out of the calf shed as we possibly can. Because those damp conditions, bugs love it, but also when we have moisture, it really, and in cold times, it really sucks the cold out of calf, the thermal heat capacity, I think it's called. And so cold calves and damp conditions are even worse. So a warm, dry lie, straw is really important. As someone said to me once, straw solves a lot of problems. How much straw? That's a good question. Talk about nesting score. What I say to people is, if your local farming press is coming to take a picture of your calves in the morning, how much straw would you have in the pen? And try and do that every day. So we're aiming for that warm, dry lie. The science of it is from a conductivity, heat perspective, but also moisture is the enemy. Mindset tip today, good habits versus bad habits. I know this mindset thing is not everyone's cup of tea, but when I think about calves and why I did this series, I said we've got to look at things a little bit different. Obviously, I'm a huge fan of microbes and talk about them, but when we think about, there's a couple of legs to the calf health story. There's the calf itself, what its biological, immunological needs are, feeding, the environment they're in, but people. Everything we do on farm comes back to people. And so good versus bad habits. A lot of jobs can be monotonous. I know that, certainly in seasonal systems, and no more so than anything. So, what you do with your own time during the spring, something, I suppose when I think about it, I do a lot of driving, and driving can be quite boring. But now I listen to podcasts, things that I'm interested in, because the news isn't always giving you the best stuff you can hear about. So, just thinking about, is it an opportunity to learn something? You can listen to tunes, you can do whatever you want, but, it's an opportunity, I think, when we're doing monotonous jobs. My equivalent is a lot of driving, is we have a choice on what kind of information we put into our brain. And I'll leave you with a statement that I think is really important, that I try and apply. It doesn't always work. And it's, I have to do this. Well, what about if we change it? I get to do this. I think it's a powerful thing if you think about it. Anyway, not everyone's cup of tea, but people and mindset is a big part of the calf health story. Microbes today, we get lots of questions for suckler farmers on the use of microbes. So some people will put it into calves. It is quite laboursome because it's been given orally. You can't feed it in milk, obviously. You can go for higher doses of 50 mils for the first 5 to 7 days. And it's still very useful. Where you're seeing diarrhea issues in calves, talk to your own vet. You can give 60 mils twice a day in your acute diarrheas and suckler calves, pairing with a nice electrolyte if you're seeing digestive upsets. And we have that liquid electrolyte Hydrostem, which a lot more information on our website, www.precisionmicrobes.com. So management tips today: straw solves a lot of problems. I have to versus I get to. And there's the microbes tip. See you for day 14 tomorrow, nearly halfway through it. Happy safe farming.